What if I told you that inside every woman's body, no matter her age, there exists a secret biological world more powerful, more mysterious, and more scientifically stunning than most men could ever imagine? That even something as intimate, as private, as a woman swallowing a man's semen can set off a cascade of real hormonal reactions that influence her mood, her sleep, her stress, and even her immune system. This isn't fantasy, it's biology. And once you understand it, you'll never look at intimacy or the female body the same way again. I'm Dr. James, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 3 decades of experience helping men and women rediscover vitality, confidence, and connection after 60. I've spent my career studying how aging affects intimacy, how hormones, chemistry, and emotion continue to interact long after most people think that part of life is over. What I've learned is simple. Nature never stops communicating between man and woman. It just changes its language. Here's the paradox. We assume desire fades with age. Yet science shows that when 2 mature partners connect emotionally and physically, their bodies still release the same powerful chemicals that once made them feel alive. Oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. The chemistry of youth never disappears. It only sleeps, waiting to be awakened. In today's video, I'll share the hidden truths about women that every man over 60 should know. Facts that can reignite intimacy, restore trust, and deepen love through real biology and psychology, not myth. And before we're done, I'll reveal one extraordinary, little-known scientific discovery. What truly happens inside a woman's body during the most intimate act of all, and how understanding it can forever change the way you see her and yourself. Before we continue, take a quick moment to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you'll never miss another science-based discussion on intimacy, health, and aging. I make every episode with people like you in mind, men and women who believe that curiosity doesn't end at 60. And if you enjoy learning something new today, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and tell me how I can make our next conversation even better for you. Now that we've set the stage, let's begin our journey into the fascinating inner world of women. You're about to discover what really happens inside the female body, the hidden symphony of chemistry, hormones, and emotion that continues to shape connection, love, and health long after age 60. 1. The hidden symphony inside a woman's body. When I first began studying human intimacy decades ago, I believed that after menopause, a woman's body simply went quiet, that the hormones faded, the chemistry dulled, and the rhythm of passion slowly disappeared. But years of research and thousands of real patient stories taught me something entirely different. The truth is that a woman's body doesn't stop playing the music of connection. It simply changes the tune. Even in her 60s, 70s, and beyond, a woman's body remains remarkably alive, responsive, and emotionally intelligent. Beneath the surface, her brain continues to release the same complex orchestra of chemicals that shape mood, attraction, and bonding. Oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, these are not just youthful hormones, they are the timeless notes of human affection. Every touch, every word of tenderness, even the simple act of holding hands can awaken those pathways again. What makes this even more fascinating is how deeply emotion and biology intertwine. When a woman feels seen, valued, and safe, her body listens. Her heart rate slows, her blood pressure stabilizes, and stress hormones like cortisol begin to fall. Her immune system strengthens, her energy returns, and her body remembers how to feel at peace. I've watched women who thought they were past their prime come alive again simply because their partner began to show gentleness, patience, and understanding. It's as if her body had been waiting for permission to feel again. And here's what many men don't realize. This biological symphony doesn't just affect her, it affects you too. When a woman's oxytocin levels rise, yours often follow. Your testosterone stabilizes, your mood lifts, and your heart literally begins to beat in sync with hers. 2 people who share real connection can regulate each other's hormones, heart rhythms, and even immune responses. That's not poetry, it's physiology. So when you look at your partner and think, time has silenced that part of life, remember this. the music never stopped. It's still there, waiting to be heard. The rhythms of affection, trust, and desire may be quieter, but they are deeper, wiser, and more powerful than before. And in a moment, we'll explore how this symphony grows even richer, how something as simple as touch or intimacy can awaken chemical signals in a woman's body that modern science is only beginning to understand. What happens next might completely change how you see her and how you see the bond you share. 2. The language of touch and hormones. When I sit with my older patients, I often ask a simple question: when was the last time you truly held your partner? Not just a quick embrace, but a moment of stillness, a touch that lingers long enough for both hearts to listen. Many pause, think, and then smile softly, because even after 60, that kind of touch still has power. Science calls it oxytocin release. I call it the body remembering love. A 10-second hug can lower blood pressure, slow the heart, and calm the nervous system. When a man gently holds a woman, her brain releases oxytocin, the same hormone that connects mother and child, that deepens trust, and that quiets fear. In that instant, she feels safe, not because words are spoken, but because biology has spoken for you. And something beautiful happens in return. Her body releases signals that raise your testosterone, steady your breathing, and make you feel alive again. Touch is not just affection, it is communication at the deepest level of human design. I remember one of my patients, a retired teacher, who told me she hadn't been touched tenderly in years. Her husband, dealing with heart problems, believed intimacy was too risky. But when I explained the science, the way gentle, slow affection can actually improve circulation and lower stress, they began to reconnect. Within weeks, both reported sleeping better, arguing less, and feeling more themselves. It wasn't medicine that changed them, it was touch. Beyond hugs, even simple gestures, a hand on the shoulder, fingers brushing across the skin, trigger endorphins, nature's painkillers. These tiny doses of chemistry ease arthritis aches, soften anxiety, and bring back the glow that no pill can imitate. The older body still craves this language, though it may not say it out loud. Touch teaches us that intimacy in later life isn't about performance, it's about presence. When a man touches his partner with patience and kindness, her brain translates that touch into a message. I am safe, I am loved, I can open again. And that in turn invites her chemistry to respond, awakening feelings, energy, and connection that once seemed long gone. But there's something even more extraordinary happening beneath that surface, something few people realize. When this kind of connection deepens, the body begins to release another cocktail of chemicals, hormones and neurotransmitters that can alter mood, energy, and even immunity. In fact, what happens next might just be the most surprising discovery about female biology that modern science has ever uncovered. 3. The chemistry of female desire after 60. Over the years, I've listened to countless men in my clinic whisper the same quiet confession: "Doctor, I think my wife just doesn't want me anymore." And every time I have to pause and gently correct them. Desire doesn't disappear with age, it changes its rhythm. It becomes less about the thrill of novelty and more about emotional resonance, the feeling of being deeply understood and emotionally safe. That shift is not weakness, it's wisdom written into the biology of the female body. After menopause, the ovaries may slow down, but they never go silent. They continue to produce small, steady amounts of testosterone, the very hormone that fuels curiosity, drive, and passion. It's the same spark that once made her lean in a little closer, laugh a little louder, and feel alive in your arms. The difference is that now her mind leads before her body follows. A woman's desire after 60 begins in her heart and travels upward to her brain before ever reaching her skin. When she feels emotionally seen, her brain releases dopamine, the chemical of anticipation, and norepinephrine, the spark of excitement. These are the same neurotransmitters that once raced through her veins when she first fell in love. I've seen couples in their 70s rediscover each other as if for the first time. One man told me that after years of distance, he simply began sitting with his wife each evening, holding her hand, listening, really listening to her stories. Within weeks, something shifted. She began touching his arm again, smiling longer, and eventually reaching for him with the same warmth she'd once had decades earlier. Science explains it through oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. I explain it as the chemistry of emotional safety. What's remarkable is how powerfully this chemistry supports physical health. When a woman's emotional needs are met, her stress hormones drop, blood flow improves, and her body becomes more responsive. Her skin glows, her energy rises, and her sleep deepens. It's not magic, it's biology responding to love. So if you've ever wondered why some couples seem to grow closer with age while others drift apart, the answer lies right here in the hidden chemistry of connection. And as powerful as this emotional bond is, there's an even more astonishing layer waiting beneath it, one that reveals how the female body interacts with a man's biology in ways that defy conventional understanding. What happens next might surprise you. It's where science, intimacy, and trust all converge in the most unexpected way. 4. The unexpected science of semen and the female body. This is where things get truly fascinating and perhaps a little uncomfortable for some to talk about. But as a doctor, I believe the body deserves honesty, not embarrassment. Over the years, I've seen how silence around certain topics leads to misunderstanding, and misunderstanding leads to shame. So let's speak openly about something that science itself has begun to explore with surprising results. What really happens inside a woman's body when she swallows a man's semen? Most people think semen's only role is reproduction, but biology paints a far more intricate picture. Semen is a living biochemical language, a complex cocktail of nutrients, hormones, enzymes, and neurochemicals that carry more than genetic material. Only about 10% of it is sperm. The rest is seminal plasma, a fluid rich in fructose for energy, proteins for protection, and trace minerals like zinc and selenium that support cellular stability. But what makes it truly extraordinary are the hormones it carries: oxytocin, serotonin, melatonin, and cortisol. These are the same substances our brains use to regulate mood, bonding, sleep, and stress. When a woman ingests semen, her body may absorb small traces of these compounds through the lining of her digestive system. And while science is still unraveling the full implications, early studies suggest that these molecules could influence mood and physiology in subtle ways. Some women report a sense of calm or emotional closeness after intimacy, and biochemically that may not be coincidence. A 2002 study from the State University of New York found that women exposed to semen reported fewer symptoms of depression. The hypothesis was that these mood-regulating chemicals were absorbed into the bloodstream, quietly supporting emotional balance. Now, I'm not saying this is a medical treatment, it isn't. What it does remind us of, though, is how deeply intertwined biology and intimacy truly are. The act isn't just symbolic, it's chemical communication. Nature may have designed this interaction as a way to strengthen emotional bonds and promote mutual well-being. For couples who share trust and health, it can represent not just pleasure, but a subtle exchange of life's chemistry. Of course, there's another side to this conversation, one that demands caution and responsibility. Because while the female body can respond beautifully to this connection, there are also risks that should never be ignored. And understanding those risks is just as vital as understanding the potential benefits. What you're about to hear next might surprise you. It's the part of the science that every mature adult needs to know before crossing that intimate line. 5. The other side: caution and safety. As a physician, I've always believed that curiosity must walk hand in hand with caution. Understanding the beauty of human biology means also respecting its boundaries. Over the years, I've spoken with many couples who wanted to explore their intimacy more deeply, but didn't realize that even the most natural acts carry real biological risks. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. The female body is incredibly sensitive and complex, and when it comes to something as intimate as oral contact with semen, safety must always come first. The greatest risk, of course, is the transmission of sexually transmitted infections. Many still believe that oral sex is safe sex, but that is one of the most dangerous myths I've had to correct in my practice. Semen can carry viruses and bacteria such as HIV, herpes, HPV, and gonorrhea. These pathogens don't need visible sores or wounds to spread. They can enter through microscopic openings in the mouth or throat. For women over 60 whose mucous membranes are often thinner and more delicate, that risk becomes even greater. I've treated patients who had no idea that something as simple as a sore throat after intimacy could signal a deeper infection. Awareness and communication are the only true forms of protection. Another concern, though rare, is a condition called seminal plasma hypersensitivity, essentially an allergic reaction to proteins found in semen. I've seen cases where women experience swelling, itching, or even difficulty breathing minutes after exposure. While this is uncommon, it reminds us that the body can react unpredictably. This is why open communication between partners and regular health screenings are so critical, especially later in life when the immune system becomes more fragile. There's also something most men don't realize: the chemical makeup of semen mirrors their own lifestyle. A man who drinks heavily, uses certain medications, or eats poorly can unknowingly pass traces of toxins or pharmaceuticals through his seminal fluid. I've always told my male patients, your body is your partner's environment. Taking care of yourself isn't just for your heart, it's for hers too. So, while there may be potential emotional or biochemical benefits in these intimate exchanges, none of it matters without trust, honesty, and medical awareness. True intimacy after 60 isn't about being fearless, it's about being informed and respectful of the biology that connects you. And once you understand that safety is the foundation of passion, something remarkable begins to happen. Because when trust replaces fear and openness replaces shame, the emotional bond between two people doesn't just survive, it deepens. In the next part, we'll explore that bond, the invisible emotional bridge between aging hearts, and how it has the power to heal both body and mind in ways science is only beginning to explain. 6. The emotional bridge between two aging hearts. When I look into the eyes of couples who've been together for 40 or 50 years, I see something that science still struggles to measure: a quiet, invisible bridge between them. It's the bond that forms when two people have faced decades of laughter, loss, forgiveness, and rediscovery. That bridge isn't just emotional, it's biological. It's made of hormones, heartbeats, and memories that have synchronized over time. And what's most beautiful is that it doesn't fade with age. If anything, it becomes stronger. A woman's deepest need has never changed, no matter her age. She wants to feel safe, seen, and emotionally understood. When a man meets her in that space, not with grand gestures but with gentle attention, her body responds in remarkable ways. Oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, floods her system, softening stress and restoring calm. Her blood vessels relax, her heart rate steadies, and her brain begins to produce serotonin and dopamine, the same chemicals that create peace and happiness. This is why emotional security can heal in ways that medicine alone never could. I remember one of my patients, a widower in his late 70s, who began dating again after many years alone. He told me that what surprised him most wasn't the return of physical desire, it was how deeply he could still feel. When she laughs, he said, my body feels lighter. When she worries, my chest tightens. What he was describing wasn't metaphorical. It was physiological resonance, his body responding to hers through a real exchange of hormones and signals that pass silently between two connected people. That's the true power of mature intimacy. When trust and affection are present, two hearts literally begin to beat in rhythm. Their breathing synchronizes, their stress hormones drop, and even their immune systems begin to mirror each other's resilience. This is why couples who maintain affection and communication into their later years often live longer, experience fewer chronic illnesses, and recover faster from stress. Their relationship becomes a form of medicine, one that science is only starting to fully appreciate. So if you've ever wondered why love feels different now, slower, softer, but somehow deeper, it's because the bridge between your hearts has been strengthened by time. It carries not just passion but peace, and in that peace lies the key to health, vitality, and purpose. But as extraordinary as this emotional connection is, there's another layer, one that lives inside the very structure of the female mind itself. Because understanding her body is only half the story. To truly understand a woman, you must also understand her psychology, her intuition, and the emotional intelligence that guides every part of her being. And that's exactly where we're headed next. 7. The psychology behind female intuition and emotional intelligence. I've spent decades studying hormones, chemistry, and physiology, but the longer I've worked with women, the more I've come to respect something science can't fully quantify: the power of female intuition. It's not magic, it's not mystery, it's the result of a mind wired to feel deeply, to perceive beyond words, and to respond with empathy. Even after 60, when hormones like estrogen decline, a woman's brain doesn't lose its sensitivity. In fact, her emotional awareness often sharpens. She reads tone, posture, and silence with the accuracy of a scientist and the compassion of a caregiver. It's her brain's way of keeping connection alive. When I talk with older women, they often tell me they just know when something's wrong with their partner. They can feel it before he says a word. That instinct is not guesswork, it's biology. The limbic system, the part of the brain that processes emotion, remains highly active in women even after menopause. It allows her to sense micro-expressions, changes in breathing, or shifts in energy that most men overlook. It's her built-in radar for love and safety. And when that radar detects distance or withdrawal, it triggers real physical pain. Her brain lights up in the same regions activated by a physical wound. That's why emotional disconnection can hurt her body as much as her heart. For men, understanding this truth is essential. When you choose to listen rather than defend, when you look her in the eyes instead of looking away, you activate her trust. Her oxytocin rises, her cortisol drops, and her mind relaxes. She no longer has to read between the lines because your openness speaks louder than any hormone. I've seen hardened relationships soften overnight simply because one man learned how to listen without interruption. It's a reminder that emotional intimacy isn't weakness. It's the foundation of strength between two people who've lived enough life to know how fragile love can be. Aging doesn't dull emotional intelligence. It refines it. A woman's intuition becomes more precise, her empathy deeper, her need for authenticity stronger. She no longer has patience for pretense, she wants truth. And when she finds it, her entire chemistry shifts from guarded to grateful. But there's another dimension of this connection that deserves equal respect: the physical and spiritual renewal that happens when intimacy itself becomes a form of healing. Because when love is expressed not just through words, but through the body, something extraordinary unfolds. And in the next part, we'll explore how that shared energy between two people can restore vitality, balance hormones, and even slow the aging process in ways that still astonish modern science. 8. The spiritual science of intimacy in later life. Through the years, I've come to believe that the most powerful medicine for aging isn't found in a pill or a clinic, it's found in connection. When two people over 60 share genuine affection, when they touch with care, hold each other with trust, or simply breathe together in stillness, something extraordinary happens inside their bodies. It's more than romance, it's biology. It's energy that heals. Intimacy, in its truest form, becomes a kind of therapy that restores balance to both the mind and the heart. When we experience closeness, our bodies release nitric oxide, the same molecule that young people produce during excitement or arousal. This small, invisible gas relaxes blood vessels, improves circulation, and increases oxygen flow to the heart, brain, and yes, even the reproductive organs. I've seen older couples who struggled with fatigue or poor sleep begin to feel renewed after simply restoring intimacy in their lives. The act itself, whether it's a kiss, a slow embrace, or gentle lovemaking, awakens the chemistry of vitality. It reminds the body that it's still alive, still capable of joy. For women, this increased blood flow revitalizes the delicate tissues of the body that often become drier or more fragile with age. It keeps them comfortable, responsive, and healthy. For men, the same reaction enhances erection, stamina, and confidence. It's the ultimate feedback loop. When one partner's body feels alive, it sends signals that awaken the other. The result isn't just physical pleasure, it's emotional renewal. But what fascinates me most is how intimacy affects the spirit. Couples who maintain closeness, both emotional and physical, often describe feeling calmer, younger, more grateful. Studies now show that this isn't coincidence. Their stress markers drop, their immune systems strengthen, and their minds become more resilient to sadness or anxiety. It's as if the body interprets love as a message to live. I've often told my patients that the true purpose of intimacy in later life isn't to chase youth, it's to honor connection. To remember that touch is language, that closeness is communication, and that passion can still exist in the quiet rhythm of two hearts learning each other over and over again. And yet this story doesn't end here. Because while intimacy can heal the body and soothe the heart, there's one more layer to understand: the deeper biological purpose behind all of this connection. It's not just about passion or comfort, it's about how two bodies, through years of love, begin to merge in ways science is only beginning to uncover. What happens when two lives, two hearts, and two chemistries truly become one? That's what we'll uncover next. 9. When two bodies become one. The deeper biological bond. After decades of studying human connection, I can tell you this. When two people love each other deeply, their bodies begin to speak a language far older than words. It's not something you can see, but it's real and measurable. Every heartbeat, every breath, every exchange of touch becomes a form of biological communication. Science calls it hormonal synchronization. I call it the merging of two lives into one rhythm. It's what happens when love moves beyond emotion and becomes chemistry. When a couple shares intimacy over many years, their endocrine systems, the body's network of hormone signals, begin to align. Their levels of oxytocin, cortisol, and even melatonin start to fluctuate in sync. That's why longtime partners often sleep better beside each other, recover faster from illness, or feel uneasy when they're apart. Their bodies have literally learned to depend on one another for balance. It's not weakness, it's nature's design. Love at its core is biological teamwork. I once treated an elderly couple in their early 80s. The husband had survived a mild heart attack, and during his recovery, his wife never left his side. When she finally went home for one night's rest, his heart rhythm became irregular again. When she returned the next morning, it stabilized within minutes. That's not coincidence, that's biochemistry. Her presence triggered oxytocin release in him, lowering his stress hormones and helping his heart settle into rhythm. Their bond wasn't poetic, it was physiological. For women, this connection runs even deeper. Regular physical closeness helps regulate estrogen and progesterone, protecting bone density, mood, and even memory. For men, emotional intimacy boosts testosterone in a healthy way, not through aggression, but through purpose and belonging. This is why couples who nurture both emotional and physical closeness often report feeling alive again, even after decades together. Their chemistry literally reawakens. So when I say that love changes your biology, I don't mean it metaphorically. I mean it quite literally. Your hormones, your immune system, your heartbeat, all of it responds to connection. You and your partner are not two separate organisms living side by side. You are two systems constantly shaping each other's health, mood, and longevity. And that realization leads us to the most profound truth of all. Because once we understand that love isn't just emotional or physical, but cellular, it changes how we see aging itself. The next part will reveal how this chemistry of connection might just be nature's most powerful secret to living longer, feeling younger, and keeping your heart strong well into your golden years. 10. Love, longevity, and the hidden secret to staying young. After more than 30 years of practicing medicine, I've seen a truth that no textbook could ever fully explain. Love, real, steady, deeply connected love, keeps people alive longer. It's not a romantic exaggeration, it's biology backed by decades of research. When you share your life with someone who understands you, who touches your hand when words fail. Your body responds in measurable, healing ways. Your blood pressure steadies. Your immune cells become more active. Your brain releases oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine, the very chemicals that protect against anxiety, inflammation, and even early aging. I've watched men in their 70s regain energy simply by rebuilding closeness with their partners. I've seen women in their 60s begin to glow again, not from supplements or beauty creams, but from laughter, affection, and feeling desired. When the heart feels connected, the body follows. It's as if every cell remembers what it was made for, to love and to be loved. The science behind this is clear. Couples who stay emotionally and physically close tend to have lower rates of heart disease, dementia, and depression. Their hormones work in harmony, their sleep improves, and even their skin shows signs of renewal. Touch, trust, and tenderness literally slow down the biological clock. One of my patients once said to me, "Doctor, I think my wife is my medicine." I smiled because he wasn't wrong. Every embrace, every shared smile, every night spent in peace rather than argument sends a message through the nervous system. You are safe, and safety is the foundation of longevity. The body heals faster when it feels secure. It ages slower when it feels loved. Even in the later years, intimacy doesn't lose its purpose. It transforms. It's not about performance or perfection anymore. It's about presence. When two people over 60 still choose to hold each other, kiss each other, or simply lie together in silence, they remind their bodies that life is still worth living. That act of connection becomes a signal of survival. So perhaps the real fountain of youth isn't hidden in a pill, a diet, or a secret supplement. Maybe it's found in the gentle rhythm of two aging hearts that refuse to give up on tenderness. Because love, in its purest form, is the most powerful anti-aging agent the body will ever know. And as we step into the conclusion, I want to leave you with one final message, one that ties everything together: the science, the emotion, and the spirit of connection. Because what you're about to hear isn't just advice from a doctor, it's a truth about life that every soul deserves to remember. Conclusion: understanding, connection, and the beauty of aging together. If there's one thing I've learned after decades of studying the human body and the human heart, it's that we are not designed to live in isolation. Every hormone, every heartbeat, every cell inside us is wired for connection. We've traveled through a lot of ideas together, from the fascinating science of semen and the female body to the emotional chemistry that binds two people through time. But beneath all the studies and biological facts, there's a deeper message that science alone cannot fully capture: the extraordinary power of understanding and compassion between two human beings. As we age, love begins to change its shape. It becomes quieter, but not weaker. The passion may soften, but the meaning deepens. What once was driven by impulse becomes sustained by trust. What once felt physical evolves into something profoundly spiritual. When a man and a woman in their 60s or 70s look at each other with warmth, they're not just sharing affection, they're exchanging life itself. Their touch carries memory, forgiveness, and healing. Their laughter sends messages through the nervous system that strengthen the heart. Their bond becomes the medicine that modern science still strives to recreate in laboratories. I've sat beside countless couples in my office, some fragile, some fiery, some rediscovering love after years of distance, and I've seen a pattern that humbles me every time. Those who stay curious about each other, who continue to talk, to touch, and to trust, age differently. Their eyes stay bright, their movements stay confident, their spirits remain young. The chemistry of connection protects them in ways even the best drugs cannot. And that, to me, is the most inspiring truth medicine can offer. So if you take anything from this journey, let it be this: never underestimate the healing power of intimacy, kindness, and genuine understanding. Whether it's through a gentle touch, a kind word, or a shared moment of laughter, these are not small acts. They are signals of life. They remind your body and your brain that you still belong, that you still matter, and that love at any age remains the most powerful medicine ever discovered. Aging isn't the end of desire or discovery. It's the beginning of a deeper, more meaningful kind of love. one that values presence over perfection, connection over performance, and truth over fear. So as you move forward, remember, your body may grow older, but your capacity for love, joy, and renewal is timeless. And that, my friends, is the most beautiful fact about being human.